Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in today's video we will be going over the 10 US states that have the most Superfund sites. Now, a Superfund site is an area or property that has been added to the National Priorities List, or NPL, which is run by the Environmental Protection Agency. These sites are contaminated by hazardous materials ranging from chemicals to radioactive materials and can pose a big risk to our health, which is why they must be cleaned up and designated on the NPL. Anyways, let's get right into this video. First up in number 10, we have Indiana with 40 Superfund sites. Now, Indiana has so many Superfunds because it is a Rust Belt state. Like other Rust Belt states, there used to be lots of industry and factories, and obviously more factories means there are more instances of toxic sites, caused from landfills, former factories, dumps, and polluted water. One notable Superfund site in Indiana is the US Smelting and Lead Refinery, commonly known as the USS site, located in East Chicago. The site contained multiple facilities operated by DuPont and the Anaconda Copper Company, which refined lead, smelted it, and salvaged it from old scrap. The site operated between 1893 and 1985 and was added to the NPL in 2009 because of arsenic and lead pollution that was affecting the local residents of the area. Next, in number 8, we have a tie between Washington and Illinois, both at 46, so I'll go through them in alphabetical order, beginning with Illinois. Now, the reason why Illinois has so many Superfunds is because it is also a Rust Belt state, home to the once industrial city of Chicago. The state has many Superfunds due to this fact, with most of them being located in the Chicago metro area. One notable Superfund in Illinois is the Lake Clormet cluster site in Chicago. Lake Clormet used to be 3 times larger, but land was reclaimed and the new land was home to new factories. Originally in the 1900s, only steel mills and nearby factories were dumping waste into the lake, but by the 80s it had also become a municipal dumping ground. The site was added to the NPL in 2010 due to numerous chemicals that were polluting the area, such as lead, arsenic, chromium, mercury, PCBs, and pesticides, and they had all affected the soil, sediments, and groundwater of the area. Next, we have Washington State. Now, Washington is nowhere near the Rust Belt, but the reasons why Washington has so many Superfunds is because it is home to lots of industries such as timber and shipbuilding and agriculture, which generate hazardous waste. Washington is also home to lots of military bases as well. It also creates Superfunds, as they often use chemicals for training or munitions. Now, one notable Superfund in Washington is the Hanford site, located around 50 kilometers north of Kennewick. Now, the Hanford site played a big role in the development of the atomic bomb, as it was used to develop plutonium for the Trinity test. The site had 9 nuclear reactors to create plutonium, and this obviously created a lot of waste, which was not managed properly and leaked into the ground and water nearby. Now, next in number 7, we have Florida with 52 Superfunds. Now, the reason why Florida has so many Superfund sites is due to its population. Florida is the 3rd most populous US state, with a population of nearly 23 million, so by law of averages, there are going to be more Superfund sites, as more people means more people who cause pollution. Florida also has a significant military presence, which creates its own Superfunds, but most importantly, Florida is very wet and swampy. This means pollutants are spread around more easily due to water currents. Now, one notable Superfund in Florida is the Stauffer Chemical Company site in Tarpon Springs. The site at Anclote Road is currently an empty plot divided by the road, but it is still owned by the Stauffer Chemical Company, as the name suggests. The site was once used to refine phosphate ore, and slag and waste was dumped on site. The facility was closed and demolished in 1983 and was added to the NPL in 1994 due to contaminants found in the soil, such as arsenic, phosphorus, thallium, and radium. Next in number 6, we have Texas with 55 Superfunds. Now, the reason why Texas has so many Superfunds is also due to its population, but also due to its oil industry. Texas is the 2nd largest US state by population of around 30 million people, and Texas is also famous for its large oil industry, and as we all know, oil can be messy, which can lead to lots of Superfund sites. One notable Superfund site in Texas is the San Jacinto River waste pits in Channelview, which is a suburb of Houston. The waste pits were used by International Paper and McGuinness Industrial Maintenance Corporation to dump mostly pulp, which contaminated the area with dioxins and furans. These pits, located just north of Interstate 10, were partially submerged in the San Jacinto River, which in 2007 led to the site being added to the NPL. Next in number 5 we have Michigan, with 65 Superfunds. Now the reason why Michigan has so many Superfund sites is again because it's another Rust Belt state, but Michigan, especially Detroit, was famous for their once booming automobile industries, and as we all know, industry leads to pollution, which can lead to Superfund sites. One notable Superfund in Michigan is the Titwabasee and Saginaw Rivers and Saginaw Bay site located around Bay City. In 1897, the Dow Chemical Company, located in Midland, Michigan, began operating, and its location right along the Tittabawassee River often led to chemicals seeping into it. Over time, these chemicals traveled downstream and into the Saginaw River, and also into the Saginaw Bay. Now, high levels of dioxins and furans were found in these waterways and the bay, which caused the area to become a Superfund, even though it was never actually listed on the NPL. Next, we have New York State, which has a total of 84 Superfunds. Now, the reason why New York has so many Superfunds is because of it being partially a Rust Belt state and because of law of averages. New York is the 4th largest US state at a population of around 19 million, which means there's more demand for industry and thus more Superfunds. Upstate New York is also part of the Rust Belt, which further contributes to the number. Although removed from the NPL, I must mention this one as the most notable Superfund in New York, and perhaps the US, as it was an infamous one, which contributed to the creation of the Superfund program. I am of course talking about Love Canal in Niagara Falls. In the 40s and 50s, the Hooker Chemical Company had used the area as a dumping ground for chemicals, and then buried them. The company subsequently sold the land to the Niagara Falls Board of Education in the mid-50s, which then used the land to build schools and homes. It was discovered in 1977 that the land was toxic because residents were seeing and experiencing strange symptoms. Numerous chemicals had been buried underneath the ground, and by 1980, the whole neighborhood had been completely evacuated, with the site being added to the NPL in 1984. The site was cleaned up and removed from the NPL in 2004 and remains vacant and fenced up today. Next in number 3, we have Pennsylvania, which has a total of 91 Superfund sites. Now again, we have another Rust Belt state, and the state is also the 5th largest US state by population with 13 million people. Now Philadelphia used to be, and still is, home to lots of factories, but Pittsburgh in particular is famous for its steel industry, often being referred to as Steel City. One notable Superfund site in Pennsylvania is the Palmerton Zinc Pile in Palmerton. The site is home to a massive slag pile that was created over the course of 7 decades by the New Jersey Zinc Company, which used the area to smelt zinc. During these decades, the company would dump zinc slag, and over time it built up and formed a giant slag pile. The pile has contaminated nearby waterways, and there were concerns that it might contaminate the water supply for the adjacent town of Palmerton, which caused the site to be listed on the NPL in 1983. Next in number 2, we have California, which has 97 Superfund sites in total. Now California is high up because of law of averages, being both the largest US state by population, but also by economy. This means California is bound to have more Superfund sites, through law of averages, because more people and more economic activity means more industry, which means more Superfund sites. California is also famous for its large agriculture industry, which uses lots of chemicals, and if mismanaged can create toxic environments. One notable Superfund site in California is the Iron Mountain Mine in Shasta, just west of Redding. Between the 1860s and 1960s, the mine was often used to mine iron, silver, copper, gold and zinc, and at one point it was the largest copper mine in all of California. As ore was often exposed, it usually oxidized and mixed with groundwater to create an acidic solution, and eventually it found its way into the Sacramento River. Because the acidic solution was killing off marine life, the EPA decided to add the mine to the NPL in 1983. And finally, in number 1, the US state with the most Superfunds, New Jersey, with 114. Now New Jersey is interesting as it is somewhat considered a Rust Belt state, as lots of its major industrial cities such as Trenton and Newark have declined like the rest of the Rust Belt, and it also has an extremely disproportionate amount of Superfund sites for its size, being the 3rd smallest state by area in all of the United States. Now one notable Superfund in New Jersey is the Diamond Head Oil Refinery in Kearney, a suburb of New York City. The refinery was used by multiple companies between the 40s and 70s to refine oil, and these companies produced a lot of oil waste. They stored the waste in tanks above ground, but they also buried it below the ground, and occasionally dumped it in and around the property. The site was not added to the NPL, however it became a Superfund site due to high levels of contaminants in the area, such as PCBs, chromium, lead and dioxins. Anyways, that is it for this video. Now, the reason why I made this video is because I was just surprised by how many Superfund New Jersey had, considering its size. Now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more similar content, and I'll see you next time.